yet again. It's a Tuesday night. It is Super League Raw Weekly. And as you can see, you're not seeing things. Greg has not grown hair. Yet again, we have called on our good friend, our Huddersfield Giants fan, of course, Joel Scholes is with us this evening. Good evening, Joel.
Good evening. Good evening. How are you?
Living the dream. Living the dream. End the season now. Welcome as always to Joel. Good to have you along. All the usual features. They're all flying in as always. Dave Wright in the room already. Good to see you, Dave. Tom Jepson, Paul Griesdale. Griesdale is with us. That's a new one. Good evening to you, Paul. Stick around. All the highlights coming. All of the main talking points. Oh, it's going to be a blockbuster of a show as always. Fantastic. So, only really one place to start with you, Joel. Huddersfield Giants. Lots expected of them going into the season. As a fan of Huddersfield, your assessment thus far?
It's a difficult one to answer when you're losing and winning and you can't get a string of runs of form together. I guess, when you look at what Watson's saying, I've got
to grind you yet?
No, I've got to trust him. I've got to trust him because I look at what other coach can possibly change anything if he was to leave, and it's kind of frustrating when you get a lot of fans on media, saying, get rid of him, he's doing no good. They did that with last year with Powell. I know we've had Watson longer, but people have to remember, and this is really important for Giants fans, that it's a much different team to what it was last year. And we've got some really big players in and they need time to gel. We've not had that, as he called it, that settled spine for quite some time. I think he's trying to find his perfect spine at the moment.
Right. On that, I don't know if you saw this week's episode of In the Sheds, Huddersfield. Did you watch it?
Did.
Explain to me why we would rotate. What's that going to do? So he started with Price in the halves, then he rotates him back, him and La Jolla.
Yeah.
For me, if you're going to try and get a settled spine, you pick his team, you leave him in situ. Rotating positions, for me, it just from the outside looking in, doesn't instill confidence, doesn't allow that gel to happen. If you're going to start with Connor and Price at halves, surely you've got to let them gel. You can't move it around.
You're right, but I don't think that is his preferred spine anyway. So you look at last year, he was one of the best fullbacks in the comp.
Bang on.
So you've got to imagine or appreciate that if he's going to put Tui into the fullback position, it's dead set. It's going to be a good acquisition. But obviously, I watched that game, obviously, and I preferred Tui in the halves. I thought him and Jake Connor were really good in the halves together, and Will Price were quite good at fullback, even though he wasn't as great last year. But I can't look at last year because he had his 10-match ban as well. So there's that to kind of contend with. But for me, what I saw against Leeds, the undoing was when Tui went to fullback because he was playing great rugby when he was in the halves in that game. So yeah, in hindsight, you wouldn't have switched him, but you can rotate Tui if he was playing his fullback position like he was last year. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just he's imperfect. He made a bad call.
Yeah, I think so. I didn't get that. I thought that we had as you know, we put it out on YouTube later. I can't remember the YouTube. There was a Leeds fan on that actually thought that the score flattered you. I don't know what game, quite frankly, they were watching. I thought Leeds were there for the taking in that first half, and for whatever reason, you didn't take those opportunities when you could. But yeah, I mean, for me, your home form's got to be a concern. I mean, we'll get to predictions later, but this match against Catalans this week, if that was an L, not a W, that's not great. That is really, surely at that point, is going to start troubling you a little bit.
What worries me is if we're going to keep getting these losses by 2, by 1, because then the question is, all right, your defence is okay, but where's your attack?
Yeah.
And if you've got someone like Kevin Agama, Jake Connor, Will Price, I know we haven't got Ash right now, but Ash Golding, these real strike players, Chris McQueen, who can act as a fullback, half-back, every back.
He can play
if you want him to. He can play ref if he wants to. He's that good.
Well, maybe you don't want if you played ref.
So with Frank, we've got something is worrying if we don't turn Catalan.
I agree. I mean, you're right. There's a lot, but there's just bags of quality. I mean, you look at even the team that you put out against Leeds this week. You know, Masters, I think's had a very solid start. Nagama's quality. He had a good game. Nagama, I thought he played really, really well. McGilvery, mate, brilliant. Jermaine McGilvery could have had a hat trick. He was unlucky. I mean, everything he did for me, McGilvery, class, absolute class. Yeah, La Hoya, fullback. I agree. You know, Price and Connor. I mean, Connor, that kick at the end. What on earth? And again, in the sheds, I said it. When McQueen went in for his second try, mate, yeah, this is where Connor, for me, mentally, big games, we've seen it time again. A lot of the time he gets sat down for 10. That didn't happen in this game. But in big games, when things are on the line and it's too close to call, personally, I don't think he'll be allowed to take a goal kick. I think if that's Lola Hoya, or here, sorry, taking that kick, you go ahead. For whatever reason, his head goes. That was not a difficult kick, for a player of that stature. No. But for whatever reason, whether he gets a 10-minute sit down or things like that, the kick out when it should have been just try for a repeat set, whatever. In those tight games, for me, Connor doesn't cope well under pressure. He makes some really odd decisions. Yeah, we saw, I can't remember who it was last year when he played for Hull. Was it Saints? Was it Leeds? Was it Wigan where he went away and they won convincingly and he got about 3 tries? I think it might have been Saints, I can't remember. And he was doing his wave to Luke Gale and all that. When he's on the crest of a wave, he's unplayable. But in a tight arm wrestle like that, at times he can be.
He's either your blessing or your curse, isn't he? Oftentimes it's a blessing. I think what he does is and this is the only criticism I've got of Jake Connor, only criticism, is he starts to play really well, gets really into the game, and then tries overplaying. And this is what you mentioned in the sheds. He does overplay it. And it's not a bad thing that he's wanting to do that. But if Watson keeps talking about these processes, he's got to stick to them. Yeah. So you can't preach and not do what you say that you're doing. So if you're a team of processes and full completion rates, you've got to stick to what he's asking you to do. Don't get me wrong, you can play off the back of sets that you've got. If you come to like the 4th and 5th tackle and you want to play some dummy rugby, some champagne rugby, fine. But don't be doing that on the 2nd and 3rd tackle. And then what you found is, and this is where Leeds then became a better team than us on the game, was when for some reason we gave them bags of space to kick downfield, and their kick chase is unreal. Leeds have always been very good at that. Yeah. So we just couldn't compete, and we lost pace. That's the problem. We've got pace, but we've got older players that can't keep that pace up, and that's the issue. Yeah,
and again, you're pointing back to what I did say there, and you're right. I think especially when they went down to 12, and I think you were fortunate at that point. I don't think that's a 10-minute person to mile one. I thought that was soft, if I'm being honest. But it happened, and when you're going up, you at that point, I think you were 10-0 up, to only get a penalty in that situation. I mean, you were on top at that point anyway. You were battering them at that point, and I think a bit of composure at that moment in time, not for whatever reason, that was the start of the decline for Huddersfield's performance for me. Yeah. That's when they started to overplay. Instead of just going through, again, you talk about processes, go through the set plays, work it left to right, force the overlap, go in. You've got the strike on both wings, just force the overlap and get in there. Composure in that moment, I think you win the game. But yeah, we'll get into a bit more about that particular game when we get to it, when we get to the highlights. But from where you are at the moment, do you feel that it'll all sort itself out and you'll finish in the top 6?
Definitely, yes. Good man. If we don't, then everyone is firing on that team.
Optimism. We love optimism. As a Warrington fan, mate, optimism's good. Optimism is good.
And just one last thing I'll say on that game, and this is the problem that we've always had, and I don't know why we've got it. It's something within the Huddersfield Giants squad that's look, I've been watching the Giants for nearly 30 years. I'm telling you now, the biggest thing is we get a comfortable lead, we dominate, and I'm talking we've dominated St Helens in the past, dominated Wigan in the past, we've dominated all the big teams, and as soon as we get two tries ahead, we release the pressure. Big teams like Wigan, Saints, Warrington, all these big teams.
Tail of the tape at the moment.
You apply it. Don't start slacking off. Put more pressure on, and that is where we need to get better. Once we do that, then we're unstoppable. But it's not happening, so that's what needs to change.
No. Alex Sharp, I think Alex is a Leeds fan. He says that, you know, Rowan Smith being told not to comment on the Miler one, that was quite disappointing. I agree. You know, at the end of the day, that wasn't a 10. It was very, very soft. Mark Atack, he's saying too many of our fans, clearly a Giants fan, panicking already because we've lost the Saints, Wigan, Leeds, don't forget Warrington. But I trust Watson knows what he's doing. He's keeping the faith, which is good to see. Alex has also said, I think they rotated Connor because he kept getting run over by Caesar, and that's worrying. If anybody gets run over by Aidan Caesar, it's worrying on his form. It has to be said. But yeah, great stuff. Right, before we get into a couple of little news stories and then into the highlights, let's have a quick look at who has made this week's Tries of the Week. Here we go.
Seize the day.
There you go. They're the tries of this week. Joel, what was your favourite of that lot?
I can't pick one. It's got to be two.
Go on then.
Yeah, the Mikey Lewis one I liked because it was just a very simple rugby. That were just basics.
Yeah.
Just, you know, he was just with his man the whole way. But I think you know which one I'm going for is Matt Doherty.
Yeah, good. And I have to say that was critical at that point. That was a massive try because at that point I think Warrington were under it, and a bit of individual genius. Obviously, delighted Phil Clark as well, which is also nice to see. Don't know what all that was about, mate. We might talk about that in a minute. But yeah, no, really good tries. A lot of tries coming from deep this season. We're seeing a lot of length of the field stuff, aren't we?
Yeah. You know, that one with Matt Duffy, I just stood up and applauded him. I said,
Nice.
that is rugby league. That stuff like that, it's just a thrill to watch, isn't it?
It is. And like I say, I go back to Phil Clark. Unbelievable. Who are Warrington playing this week? Have a guess, is all I'm going to say. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Why he decided to shout out about Duffy, I don't know. But Duffy did what needed to be done. He did let the rugby do the talking. Now, some really good tries. Paul McShane was relieved to see Eden on his left-hand side, wasn't It's like Paul McShane. He was like, please be somebody out there so I can get this ball going. He was knackered by the time he got to the halfway.
There was quite a lot of that this weekend, wasn't there? You know it. We're absolutely done, weren't there?
Outstanding stuff. Right. As we come on air this evening, there has been a couple of announcements. So let's just quickly put a graphic up. First of all, before we get to the disciplinary panel, let's talk about that on the left-hand side. Mike Cooper is going to be out for 9 to 12 months with a knee injury. I think that's potentially career over for Mike Cooper.
Could be. How old is he now? He's
35. He's contracted for this year at Wigan, so he's only got this year at Wigan, so he's out for the season. To come back from that at that age,
for him to get an extension, he was going to have to play out of his skin, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He wasn't doing too bad, but I think with Mike Cooper, he's just come to the end of his days now, hasn't he?
Yeah, I fear for him there. It's a terrible way for his career if it is a career-ending injury. For that to finish, this is a guy that went down to the NRL and actually held his own down there. It has to be said, and he really did hold his own down there. He's been a good pro. He has been a good pro. It's always a shame to see careers ended for the player as opposed to the player actually calling time themselves. Right, the big news is, Goodson. I'm shocked and stunned tonight. He got 5 games. I thought he'd get much more than that. I think Mr. Dudson has been a very fortunate man to get 5 games and a £500 fine. What's your thoughts?
I don't know why, but it instantly made me think of when Will Price got 10-game ban for something that he was very apologetic after. But what Gil Dudson did was, and I know you mentioned it in the shed, it literally reminded me of the Ben Flower incident. That is a no-no. For me, I was thinking that has to be a minimum of 8. Minimum. Yeah. He has really gone lucky with that one. But it's good to see that you're certainly not biased towards that. You call it out.
Mate, you can't be, mate. And we had a Saints fan on YouTube after done the In the Sheds on Wigan Saints, and he actually whoever it was put a comment on there. Can't wait to see you defend Dudson. I'd never defend any player for that, what shirt they're wearing. When you've got a player unarmed on the floor like Johnson was, that's just not acceptable in our game. Our game's a tough game, but that's not acceptable. And then, what's really pleased me as a Warrington fan, you talk about bias. I've been on all the social media platforms for Warrington, and I've yet to see any post defend Gil Dudson.
Good.
Which is good to see. Because sometimes we let our colours cloud our judgment, and you can't. We love the game. Yes, we're all passionate about our teams, but there's also in rugby league this deep down respect for the game of rugby league and what it brings to communities and to fans. And I'm sorry, but that is just totally unacceptable. And it's not the first time he's done it as well, which again I thought would count against him. So when I saw five games tonight, wow! And of course, the man that has got a phenomenal sidestep when it comes to the disciplinary committee, Mr. Morgan Knowles, he's going to be sitting out for 5 games. I'm sure they'll may appeal that.
I can't see Powell not giving him a right dressing down though. He is not one that minces his words.
Yeah, no, I think behind closed, and I think the fact that I watched Powell's press conference, and I think he had a stern word with the media prior to his post-game press conference, because no question came about Gil Dudson. Not one. Now, you think from a journalist perspective, you're waiting to ask that question. I think something went on there where it was like, I'm not even addressing it. I'm not even going there. Which for me, again, is a good sign, because what could he possibly say? By asking him a question, you're putting a coach in a position where it's a fine balance between supporting your player but actually saying what is right. So the fact that I genuinely believe something got said before that press conference, we're not going there with Gil Dudson, and that's interesting. Annie and Sue made a great point as well, and I don't think I mentioned this in the shed, but I'll mention it now. It wasn't just what Gil Dudson did; it was what he did to the camera after that I found even more disturbing. That little grin on the way off. Nah, mate. No. Nobody's more passionate about the team than me, but that's not a representation of my club, and he's going to have to. He's going to have to repay a lot of favours there, because that's just not acceptable behaviour at all.
It reminds me of it's not the exact same, but it's the attitude towards it. His name's passed me now. He wasn't allowed to play in Super League for a while. He went to Leigh.
I can't remember that. Playfully.
No.
See, well, I'll tell you what. Let's do players around number 8. Let's see if it comes to you. So let's move it on. So because we've got all the highlights to go through. Yeah. So here we go, ladies and gents. This is the players of round number 8. Enjoy, he says. So there you go. They're the top performers. A couple of your books in there, Joel.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, I was most impressed with Harry Newman.
Yeah.
He were really a game changer for Leeds.
He's tempered on, mate.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And then also another one that is great for Hull KR, but he needs to stay fit. Is Lachlan Coote. He just shows, doesn't he, when he's on the field?
Class player.
Yeah,
Class.
he is.
Class player. Kobe McGilvey in the house. Dawn Baker in the house. Keith Bridge. Gareth Unsworth is with us. Alex is going like you won't believe in the chat. Good lad, Alex. Keep going there, Chief. Keep it coming in. Graham Parrish. Why didn't he drop a goal instead of going for touch? It's because he thought they were ahead. Graham. He lost the plot. Did our Mr. Connor? He didn't quite get that one right. Right, we're going to get into some highlights and we'll keep talking, Joel and I. But before we do, here it is, the Super League Raw Fans Forum Mini League. And as you can see, Stephen Bowie, the Saints fan, continues to lead, but it's very, very close, just 39 points ahead now. And some really good scores coming in. If you're not a part of the Super League Raw Fans Forum Mini League on the Fantasy League, then do join us. There's the pin. There's the password. Come and join us. There is a prize. End of the season, which we will mention. It's going to be worth winning as well. We're only a small show. We don't get paid for doing this. It's going to be out of the goodness of our hearts, but there's a decent prize at the end of this, at the end of the season. You've got to be in it to win it. So get in it. Right. Okay. We've just done top performance. So let's get into some games. And we start, of course, at Castleford. Wakefield, Castleford. Joel, not heard from you for a while. Is there any hope for Wakefield?
No.
Simply put.
But yeah, I think Wakey have they've hung on with a hope and a prayer for many a year.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him because I do have a soft spot for Wakey, and I just think with the money that they've pumped into this new build, it's great for it to look good, but you've got to pump your money into your players first to keep you up. Yeah. To afford it, and this
Dawn Baker saying, "Don't mince your words, lad."
From Yorkshire, you can't expect anything less, really, can you?
Not really.
But yeah, this one for Wakey was they had to win it to have any sort of.
Well, they certainly have to win this week, mate. There he goes. There's the lad. You know, he was released. I mean, that still took some scoring there. Yeah, I like Greg Eden, mate. I think he's a quality winger. He really is.
He's like Jermaine. The older he gets, the better and quicker he's. Yeah. Nathan Massey were good though. He was nice. Him. I don't understand. Like he's in his 30s, isn't he? I'm sure.
Most of the cast squad are, mate. To be honest.
Yeah. To be fair, yeah. He. I don't know. He's like a Duracell battery. He just keeps going.
I think the more I see Broadbent, mate, the more I'm happy with Broadbent at Cass. I think he could be significant for him as the season goes on.
I thought he was good when he was at Leeds when he got game time. He just didn't have opportunity, did he?
We were surprised to see him allowed to leave there. Sammy Sonilangi, I think, was the only player that could come off this pitch with his head held high. He had a start. It wasn't just a try. He had a storming game in this game for Wakey, both in defence in terms of his tackle. He got over 40 tackles in the game. I think he got over 170 metres as well as his try. Really solid, Sammy Sonilangi in this game.
Yeah, he's a class player. They're going to have to keep hold of him as long as they possibly can.
Yeah. Well, that's got West Ham in a ban this week, and again, I don't think anybody can argue with that. It is a trip, and it's going to see him miss out this weekend. But yeah, Wakey, we'll get to predictions in a minute. You're right. I did feel that they had to show something in this game for me, and I'm still yet to see anything that tells me that Wakey stay up.
Yeah, the defence has got better, but like we said earlier, defence means nothing if you're not scoring.
No, you've got to score points, mate. I think again, I think it might have been, was it In the Sheds? I talked about I think it was. I think I said on In the Sheds that I think they're averaging about 5.8 points a game. And when you consider the last two teams to get relegated were over 16 and 15 points a game apiece, it's bad reading, isn't it? It's really bad reading if you're a Wakey fan.
Yeah. The thing is then, like the question for Wakey is, are these hardcore fans that have stuck with them forever, are they going to stay?
I think they will. I think they're that hardcore over there, mate. I do think they will. How long for if they didn't get an immediate return? Because that's the other thing with Wakey. If they do go down, have they got a squad that gets them straight back up again? That's the question. I mean, I said on In the Sheds, mate, you've got to slide there. You've got to slide there. It's like every decision they're making. I said that it's like they're running when they should be passing, they're passing when they should be running. And Slide, he scores. What makes him go to the air there? I'll never know. Never know.
With Wakey, there just seems to be no structure at all. The game is a bit like a pass me ball, see what I can do with it.
Yeah. It was an intriguing game, that though, wasn't it? I mean, it wasn't a great game. I mean, I think even Andy Sue in the chat have conceded it weren't a great game. But I think for a purist rugby league fan, because you knew what was at stake and it was a right good little tussle going on, it was an intriguing game, that. And again, going from a Wakey perspective, Kershaw's face when Eden's try went in, the hurt on his face. They need 17 of them. They need 17 that feel it the way he was feeling it at that moment in time, because he was hurt, the lad. Really hurt.
And that's the problem, isn't it? They've not got a depth to the squad either that they need, because they've had a couple. Is it Proctor who they've got?
Proctor, yeah, Proctor, yeah.
He's not been around, has he?
No, he's been a bit in and out, hasn't he? And and it's like a Tony as well. He's been a bit in and out. And again, they are suffering in that area. You talked about Huddersfield. I think probably Salford as well as suffering a little bit in terms of injury, but Wakey certainly the most. And I question this, bringing players in on 2-week loans. Are they really going to, pour out their hearts for that Wakefield shirt? I don't think they are. I don't think the solution is these short-term loans. As you said, I think they've got to go and get some players in.
They've got all
play for the future
from us, haven't they?
Yeah, it's great for you because they're getting game time. But are those lads really going to pull it out for Wakey? I don't know if they will, mate.
No. The only kind of upside for that is that if they're serious about wanting to play in the Huddersfield squad full time, they're going to play out the skins for Wakey. But we've only sent them, I think it's three men. 3 men's not going to win a game for them.
No, mate. No, you're right. Albert Goldthorpe and the Man of Steel both agreed in this game. Paul McShane getting the 3 points, Greg Eden 2, and Nathan Massey 1. I have no issue with those scores at all. I think that was probably about right. We now go to the only blowout. We were so hopeful this was going to be a great game, a tussle. Hull FC. Joel, what's your take on Hull FC this year?
Man, got to be so careful what I say. I feel like if Featherstone was in our league, they'd put a better showing.
Ooh, that's bruising. Bruising.
Sorry. I'm sorry. The thing is, though, I've grown up knowing Hull FC being in the top 4, always, and now to see them where they last year and the year before, win a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game, and now
Accept that.
it's whether if they could score a point, it'd be good. And I honestly, I am not trying to be horrible to the people that are in the chat that are all FC fans at all. It shouldn't be happening. It's not good for the game. But come on, it's a derby. This is the one derby out of all of them that we all look forward to the most.
Yeah. That's the Bachelor one with Clifford. This is a major problem because now that they're without Hoy, they're without Clifford. I don't see Clifford playing this week. This looks probably ligament. I'm guessing it looks that way to me. The way he went off as well. So they've got a real lack of strike players. Brad Dwight's doing his best, but
yeah,
they're lacking strike players now. This could get ugly. Luckily for them, Wakefield's in the comp because based on their injuries to key playmakers, this could get ugly for Hull.
It could. Well, the thing is, last year they had Jake Connor to rely on for everything. Who have they got to rely on now? Hoy's not been around a lot. Clifford looks like, we don't know how long he's going to be out for now, do we?
Not announced. I just can't see him playing this week. You've got Hoy out, you've got Clifford out, Jamie Shaw, who was back. I think he's picked up another knock, so he's going to be out. Big problems.
But the way Clifford went down, you knew something was bad were happening.
Yeah.
He stayed down for a bit, didn't he? So that's
hobbled off as well. And when a player hobbles off, being carried off, where they put their arms around two of the trainers, you know it's a bad one. And I do think Clifford. Let's be optimistic for the lad. Good try. This is a great try. Look at this. This is beautiful. Look at Ryan Hall there. Fantastic. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. That was fantastic. And then, of course, in a couple of minutes, I think it was the next try. I think it was a quick 1-2, this one. Virtually an identical play on this left edge. They were just shot at this point, Hull. Mikey Lewis doing what? Oh, no, it might be the next one. Mikey Lewis doing what Mikey Lewis does. Look at this. It just kept coming, didn't it? Boom. There's another one.
He's a great player, isn't he?
Mate, he's third now, and he's catching, and if he carries on the way he's going, I think he will overtake eventually Maguire as the leading Super League try scorer of all time. I could see that happening, and to be fair, it'd be quite fitting. Ryan Hall, he's been there, done it, got the t-shirt. Great pro. Here's the Lewis one. Love the kid behind the sticks on this. Love the kid. Did you see it?
Oh yeah.
The little kid.
You know what? I was just mesmerised by Ryan Hall. I don't know how a man who's in his 60s can run that fast. It's just wrong, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But yeah, no, the kid. I don't think they show it in the highlights, but the kid, outstanding, absolutely. Oh, is it here now? The little kid with Mikey Lewis.
It's on this one.
It's why we watch rugby league. Oh, they don't show it, but
it was great though, wasn't it?
It's wonderful, mate. It's wonderful. The kid, he must have been 7, and he was just pumped up. It was a wonderful thing. Really, really good.
It's great. It's great for the game for the young kids, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It gives them something to look forward to. If they can make that into the.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Nobody could have envisaged 40-0. The Albert Goldthorpe points, and rightly so for me. I was pleased when I saw this. Albert Goldthorpe giving 3 points to Mikey Lewis. I agree with that. I thought first half Abdul was good. He got 2. But I thought as the game went on, Mikey Lewis just kept coming more and more into the game. I think he deserved that 3 points. Hall got 1. Man of steel. 3 for Ryan Hall, 2 for Mikey Lewis, and 1 for Tom Opashik is the way they go. There's a couple when we get to some of the other Man of Steel points in a minute. It's just like, really? What game were you watching? But anyway, that said, let's move on because now we got the other little cheeky one. Wigan against Saints. This was a brilliant game.
It was a very good game this year. This was a really good game.
Yeah.
I thought I was surprised with the scoreline though, to be honest with you. I thought it was going to be much lower because usually when you get these games, you're lucky to get more than 10.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, they're not. It's normally knife edge stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think I said in the sheds, this was as much about Wigan's try saving efforts as it was about their try scored. But Saints weren't that bad. When you think 3 almost certain tries, and Wigan just managed to get bodies in there.
Yeah. Saints though, they're tired. They are really tired. You can just see it. Come half time, You know that
Well,
they're not.
making Saneer's labour. He's carrying a knock, Tommy. Making some fully fit. He's going in there.
Oh yeah,
He's definitely carrying a knock. He's not. If you remember 2 weeks ago, he didn't take kicks. Percival took him. So I think Tommy Makison's doing it hard at the moment.
yeah. Do you know? It's funny you mentioned that because I saw that he because he's odds on he's always gonna kick for you. So yeah. But you could just see from his pace, he didn't have a turn of pace like another else. He can normally spin out of tackles. He wasn't doing any of that. The thing is, though, what's worrying for him is if he's carrying something, he's playing to the level that he's playing at, he could do himself a real injury. So he's got to be careful there.
Yeah, absolutely. King, I mean, we've seen King at his best at Warrington, and I think he's starting to believe again, and he's getting better and better as the season's going on. I'd have to say that. I think he was very good. Shorrocks was good as standoff. He did well. That was a nice try by Lomax, it has to be said. Him and Dodd, quality halfback combo.
Yeah, I think
really
Lomax. It's been great that he's the one who never went to the NRL. Absolutely fantastic.
Great pro, mate. He's a great pro. How he's never been in the Man of Steel reckoning. You know, we say this all the time. We don't know. That is a world class tackle. But when that went in, I'm rubbing my hands thinking, oh, we've got a game on now. You know, we've got 10, 12 minutes to go, and it's minimum 10, maybe 12, 14. I'm thinking, here we go. But when you saw that, what an effort from Shorrocks. Incredible.
When they slowed that down, you could see he gave it everything pulling in there, didn't he? To stop that. And man, that was good tackling. That was nice.
Brilliant. It was on show, mate. And Albert Goldthorpe medal. Shorrocks, he was good. He wasn't 3 points good. He wasn't 3 points good. King got 2 points. Hull got 1. Man of Steel, Harry Smith picked up 3. Shorrocks got 2. King got 1. Like I say, the Shorrocks, maybe a point for me at best. I think there was better players on the park. I thought Smith had a good game. I do think Smith had a good game. French had glimpses. Hurrell, colossal again. Over 170 metres. Incredible effort.
He should be scoring more points on these charts.
Oh, mate, he's an animal. He's an animal. You know, I don't even think Leeds saw this Conrad Hull. This is the best we've ever seen him in Super League. He has been outstanding for Saints. Absolutely outstanding. Right, we move on to this little belter, and this was a cracking game and all. Let's start controversy. A little bit of controversy. There's that looping ball as always. Kai O'Donnell. On what planet was that forward pass? You know,
has there been a lot said about that? Has there?
I don't think there has, but for me, it was a shocker of a decision because that's a game changer right there. I think Kai O'Donnell for me has been one of the revelations of the season. I think he's come from nowhere and he's playing some brilliant stuff in second row. Very unlucky, very, very unlucky.
Do you think then? I've got one for you. Do you think that if we've got these video refs and we've got the screen, should we be using it for forward passes? Because
it's difficult, mate, and it's the same in the NRL, isn't it? You know, it's not like I don't think they've got the technology that they've got in football in terms of all the different camera angles. I mean, football have got more cameras than soft mic. It's a difficult one unless it's past. Depends on the cut of the grass. Depends how close to a line it is. Lines help officials out because these days the margins are so tight. Yeah. But the referee was right there. And for me, it wasn't even up for question. It was never a forward in a million years.
No. So the question then is, does it come back to should we bring in captain's challenge?
All day.
Because that doesn't have to go necessarily 4 tries. That could go for any decision against you. Yeah,
but I think even they can't go for forward passes. Ipape, best we've seen him in the Leigh shirt this year, bar none.
He's been really, really good. Very, very impressive. Into more Super League sides, to be honest with you, by the way he's been performing.
Yeah. Really getting his second 10 of the season there. That is a concern. If you're Paul Rowley, you can't afford to lose your halfback. I've been very impressed with Lachlan Lamb as well, Joe.
Yeah, look, to be fair, I think he's probably, I might be not everyone's favourite here, but I think he might have been, he's currently Leigh's best player.
Yeah, yeah, he's been class, mate. I think there's something about the lad. He's got it, and yeah, Leigh have got to keep hold of him, and I think as long as Adrian Lamp's there, they will keep hold of him. But yeah, he's a great player. Good hunting ground this for Salford. That's 2 wins from two very tight games in here. I mentioned on In the Sheds, Chamberlain, not convinced he's Super League quality, I'm afraid.
No, I'd agree with that. Yeah, I'd agree.
This lad's having a good year. Dupree.
Yeah, he's been really good.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot about him last year, was there?
No. He came good at the back end. But no, I mean, that's a try out the very top draw. The presence of mind to get himself back in and do what he did there, Charlie. Charlie's a man reborn. Reborn. Incredible.
That reminded me back in Warrington days, did that.
Yeah, at his best, and his Wigan, and his Wigan days. I mean, just really, really good. And at this point, for me, you could just sense that Leigh was starting to get that degree of belief into them. And yeah, here they come again. Great. This time Chamberlain gets it right. I think it was this one. Was it this one? Oh no, it's not. It's the Ricochet one. It was the Briscoe one. The Briscoe one. It was straight after that one where he held the ball instead of passing it, and then of course that one there going in. Leigh, yet again, like your boys, incredibly competitive in every game. They will be looking up, not down, I think.
What's good with Leigh is, yeah, I agree with that. I think what's been helping them is, though, they've been playing with some pace. They run at everything 100 mile an hour, and what I like about them is they try and dictate the pace of the game, and I think that's why they've got themselves in really good positions.
Good pack. Good pack. I think Asiata, Amon has been out. It's just been incredible. Really, really good signs for Leigh. They look good for 2024 next year in Super League. Albert Goldthorpe, Dupree picked up the 3. Atkin picked up 2. Atkin had a great game. Chris Atkin for Salford. Ipape getting the 1. On Man of Steel, Atkin got the 3. Pape got the 2. And Shane Wright at second row, who also had a really good, solid game. He picked up the 1. Right, we now go to Perpignan, and as a non-Warrington fan, couple of things in this one. We've done Gil Dudson. We've had the chat. For those who've joined us late, we're all in agreement. Not great. Nullified Paul Vaughan, only 54 metres in this game. Paul Vaughan, they did a number on Vaughan, did Catalan.
Sorry?
I said Paul Vaughan, 54 metres. Catalan did a bit of a number on him.
Sorry, it went quiet then. I didn't hear him.
It's all right.
Them gremlins. Yeah. He has. I love Paul Vaughan.
Quality, mate.
Yeah.
Quality player. Real quality.
I said to you though, didn't I? At the end of last year, he's going to make a huge difference to Warrington, and as he.
It needs a big game on Friday with the amount of people we've got missing in the pack, that's for certain. Right, here we go. Joel, is this a penalty try? Yes or no? In your opinion?
It's hard to watch this. I paused it, rewound it, paused it, rewound it, because I think with them ones you've got to, aren't you? I'd say so.
Would you?
Yeah.
I'm not convinced.
The reason why is because it was careless, and there was quite a bit of contact made there. So the reason why I thought that was the case was the arm comes round over the shoulder on the left, and to me that's a bit of.
Yeah. Has he gone to impede the player, or has he played a genuine play for the ball?
The thing is, the ball was nowhere near him. So
I thought it was harsh. I thought it was harsh, but I would do. And this is why I said earlier on, that's why this one was so pivotal. At that point, Warrington 10-4 down, and then Duffy does this. Phil Clark, mate, what was your take on Phil Clark's rant about Matt Duffy?
I've always liked Phil Clark, but I don't know, every now and then he comes out with some very silly comments that don't make no sense. How can you possibly say anything about Matt Duffy? He's absolutely amazing. He's been a revelation. I just don't understand. I don't understand anything like that towards nothing.
Yeah, and it's like I said, he's not Wellesby, he's not Bevan French, but he's a damn good fullback. He's a quality fullback. I just don't think he deserved that at all. But, I really didn't.
But who in the league has got his pace?
Very few, and actually nobody's made more he's made more meters than those two. He's made less errors.
Exactly. He will do. He will do. Yeah. He's an unbelievable player. Do you know? I'd have him over Wellesby.
Yeah.
Just down to the fact that his pace, and very rare does he drop a ball. Have you ever seen him drop a ball?
I think Wellesby's a class player. I've got no issue with Wellesby and Bevan French being touted more than Duffy, but I just felt it was bang out of order, as was this absolutely disgraceful behaviour. Alex saying that, didn't Warrington get 8 pointers for something similar early in the season? No, not really. If you remember the 8 pointers that Warrington got, one was for knees. That wasn't knees. I think the other one was a high shot behind the line, which I even said at the time I felt was not a penalty try, if I'm being honest. That I don't think you can give it for those. But yeah, that for 5 games, I think Mr. Dudson has been a very fortunate man.
Very
incredibly fortunate.
Someone likes him, that's for certain.
Yeah, that was really bad. I'd say what was also disappointing as well, maybe they're in a rush to get it out for this. So in the highlights, we see that 3 times, but in the highlights, for whatever reason, Super League didn't put Romano's try in, which is a bit odd. Because Romano's try was a lovely try, but they didn't put it in the official highlight reel, which was interesting. I had to go to the Catalan page to get that one for tries of the week.
Do that snigger then.
Yeah, not good. But, like again, I said on In the Sheds, credit to the 12 men that were left, because it was, 15 minutes to go. Catalan were right in that game. How Warrington have won this, I do not know. And no wonder the celebrations were what they were, because this was a mighty, mighty effort in the end. Who was your man of the match?
I'm going to go with Duffy.
Duffy?
Yeah. I sound like a broken record, don't I? I think he's really, really good. I like the way he takes quite a big leadership role in the pack there with everyone. He's always calling players out. I've seen this when he's been at Huddersfield. He's always barking orders at everyone. He'd make a great 7, wouldn't he?
Well, don't watch this. Don't watch this disallowed try, Joel. It'll make you upset, because there's nothing different between that and the Cameron Smith try. Nothing at all. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, man of steel points were 3 for Duffy, 2 for McMeekin, 1 for Sam Cassiano, the Albert Goldthorpe, 3 for George Williams, 2 for Garcia, 1 for Ratchford. The man of steel. How Williams is not in that top 3, I do not know.
Good that Cassiano's getting points, because I don't know if you agree, I think he's playing better rugby at Warrington than he has done at...
He's been brilliant, mate. Yeah, he's been brilliant.
But yeah, George Williams has been a different player altogether for many a year. It's after the World Cup. He's played really well.
Been brilliant, mate. He's been absolutely brilliant. Right, couple more coming in. Gary Sandby, good evening to you. Good to have you with us. Welcome to Super League Raw Weekly. We hope you stick around. I'm sure you will. Right, we then come to what was the final game. And some really odd decisions in this one. Joel, for the first 25 minutes, you had him. 100% you had him.
Yeah, I actually said, I was with my dad watching it at the time. I said, I think it was about 20 minutes actually. I said, if they're not careful, I said, we could nil them here.
You were flying, mate. You were absolutely flying. Everything about you, you had them on the back foot. You were playing in their half. You weren't giving them any breathing space. You were playing some really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. McQueen, brilliant.
One thing I did like, and I'm sure if Mark's still watching this, he'd agree, is something we did in this game that we've not done in previous games is when it comes to fourth and fifth tackle and they've come close to the try line, you could pretty much guarantee that they're gonna, whoever it is going to score. But
that's a harsh yellow.
Yeah.
Harsh.
I actually said that, to be fair. I did say that, to be fair. But one thing that we have done is we've been able to hold them on the line. I think we held them for three sets, I think it was, at one point.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, we've not done this for a while.
Yeah. No, mate, that first 25 minutes, all Huddersfield. Leeds didn't get a sniff. This was the moment now to drive the advantage home. And we've said this already, that 10 minutes, your dominance and the way you were playing, you should have been far further ahead than you actually were at that point. And it cost you in the end, unfortunately.
It did. Yeah, as soon as Leeds started with the kick chasers, and you could see we were tired. We were defending. That's what happens, don't you? If you can get the other team to defend, a lot of times you're pretty much going to be on the front foot because they're going to be shattered.
Yeah.
I know it's like
big bonus for Leeds that Angley's back.
Yeah, he was always one to watch out for, and he played really well.
Yeah.
Him and Harry Newman were the two outstanding players. But
from the outside looking in, Harry Rushton seems a good buy.
Very good. I remember the first game that he played, you wouldn't have seen it because it wasn't on TV. But the first game he came on, it was the second half, and he replaced, I think it was McQueen.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, this guy's he's going to be good. He's a ball player. He carries strong, and it's good because what we've needed is someone like McQueen and Josh Jones, people that run at people with some pace, and that's what Harry did. Nothing. Yeah. He never gave up once, and that's just what we need. And he's only 20, I think, or 21.
Yeah. The young kid, yeah, he obviously started at Wigan, went to the NRL, didn't he? Another young kid that started at Wigan was this guy. He took this really well, O'Donnell. That's a good try from a young second row. Really good. And that really, he's somebody that's impressed me as well. Cam Smith's having, at the moment, the season of his life. He looks very assured in that loose forward for Leeds.
I'll tell you who really impressed me was Nenny McDonald.
Yeah,
good player, a lot of been fasting for hours and hours and hours, and he was shifting. At one point, am I right? I think he nudged one of his players out the way to go.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did in his own 20. Yeah, because he wanted the ball. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Without question, absolutely without question, mate. Yeah, quality, absolute quality.
Leeds deserve the win. To be honest with you, they ended up playing better.
Yeah, the only thing I would say, and it is the only thing that I would say is, and I said this on In the Sheds, a video ref can't get this wrong. I'm sorry, they can't. This is a scandalous. If this isn't on the telly, I'll forgive him. But Cameron Smith is 2 yards off, a yard offside. And he encroaches within the 10. And they allow it to stand. And Liam Moore is heard on the video referee saying everybody on the left is onside. Yeah, but the man who scores the try is on the right, Liam. It was a scandalous try. Lola Haya, he should have done a lot better than he did to let it go under, between his legs. This run made up for that a little bit.
That's not Tui. That I was very surprised when he let that go, and it was a lot of that indecisiveness and silly little bits of discipline that had left him, which, odds on to it, he's never going to let go of a ball. He's got hands with glue on.
Yeah, I was surprised and all. But Chris McQueen in for a brace. I like McQueen. I think he's a quality player. Really, really good. Really good.
Sam Halsall?
Yeah, tidy. Tidy is what I'd say. Thought he was tidy. Didn't do much wrong, did he?
No, I thought he would be quite good if he ever needed to go into a fullback position.
He was very good under the high kicks. Yeah, he was done. That was another thing that it's funny you should mention that as well. There was a few occasions where I don't know if they were shouting to each other in those situations, it's my ball or not, because the amount of times where you very nearly saw two players collide. You know, Halsall was one of them. I think he actually got Price out of the way for one.
He did.
You know, Price, if he's going to play fullback, he's got to shout because there's a bit of indecisiveness there. Right, in terms of Albert Goldthorpe's 3 for Blake Austin.
Right.
Interesting one. 2 for McDonald, 1 for Lollahea. Man of Steel, 3 for Cameron Smith, 2 for Nene McDonald, and again 1 for Lollahea. So I'm not sure where the Austin one came from Albert Goldthorpe. I have to say, don't really see where that one was, if I'm being honest.
I don't
right.
But I didn't see him at all in that game.
No, not to that extent. Stop the season. Stop it now. It doesn't need to carry on. This will do us quite nicely. There they are, the Warrington Wolves, 8 from 8. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Couldn't have wished. Well, unbelievable. Absolutely mouth-watering prospect now this weekend. The Robins, for me, deservedly at 4th. I think the Robins have played brilliantly well this season. They're looking good. Again, recruited really well in the pack and fully deserving of being 4th. There's an absolute race on for that top 6 for position 5 and 6. There's no doubt. As the season goes on, you'd expect Saints to rise up that table. Warrington now are looking good for a top 3, is what I would say. I'm still going to keep a lid on that one, but I think, you know, you'd think top Warrington now looking good for a top 3 finish minimum. But yeah, that is going to be interesting to see this one as it pans out. And there you can see Hull, how thankful are they at the moment that they have got 4 points. That could be vitally important to them at this moment, and this early in the season. Very, very important. They've already got 2 ahead, 4 ahead of Trinity at this point. Right, time for Team of the Week, Joel. So we'll see you on the other side of this one, ladies and gentlemen. For the first time, announcing the round 8 Team of the Week. Here it is. It's the Team of the Week for round number 8. Here we go again. And at fullback, it is Mr. Matt Duffy of the Warrington Wolves, the man who saw Phil Clark's hand and raised it, then rammed his cards down his throat. A brilliant solo effort at the time when Wire needed it the most. What were you saying, Phil? At number 2, and it will be Greg Eden. A Cass win is often followed by this man in fine form, and it was a masterclass. The brace takes him to 98 tries and 103 games for Castleford. Quite simply, he is irresistible to the Tigers. At number 3, bow down to Toby King. It appears that Wigan are now playing to his strengths, and he's reaping the rewards. King on his day's class. Can the Wire dethrone him this week? At number 4, it will be Reece Martin of the Leeds Rhinos. His transition into the centre has been effortless and regardless continues to produce vital scores at vital times. Leeds are also benefiting as it releases O'Donnell into the second row as a consequence. At number 5, Ryan Hall continues to add to his legacy as one of the greatest wingers rugby league has ever produced. Just another hat-trick taken in his stride. One word: quality. At number 6, well, many opposing fans love to hate him, but Mikey Lewis is a star in the making. Pride, passion, tries, assists. It's only his name was Mickey. A song would be in order still. He is so fine. At number 7, and despite not having any Man of Steel points this week, we thought that only Bob could fix it. Anyway, George Williams once again pulling the strings to ensure that the Wolves went 8 from 8. Beautiful! At number 8, well, this may surprise many, but what a great display by Nathan Massey of the Castleford Tigers against the Wakefield Trinity. This was his best performance of the season so far, and he fully deserves his place at prop forward this week. At number 9, it will be his partner in crime, Mr. Paul McShane, yet again proving his class and the importance to the Tigers. A typical McShane try was followed by a 50-yard carry, but thankfully for McShane, he had Eden on his inside, offloading to do the rest. Superb! At number 10, well, unlike Gil Dudson, Sam Cassiano had a great return to Perpignan. His contribution to the Warrington effort cannot be underestimated, both in attack and defence. 3 assists now for the season, which is better than some of the halfbacks. At number 11, Paul Seguer of the Catalan Dragons. Yes, he may have been in the defeated side, but his form against the Warrington Wolves was superb. It was great to see him taking this opportunity with both hands in the absence of Manu Mao. Will be tough to budge in the weeks ahead. At number 11, the mullet of Shane Wright. Sure could not distract anyone from his form and effort. For Salford, a stellar outing versus the Leigh Leopards. The assist can only be described as a thing of beauty. And at number 13, well, it's his second appearance of the season in our team of the week, and he's in incredible form. It is, of course, Mr. Cam Smith. And what a player he is. Potent in attack, but his defence is nothing more than colossal. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your team of the week for round number 8. Team of the week for round number 8 is in the record books at Super League Raw. There it is in its finery. Apologies to Mikey Lewis, didn't change the Johnny Lomax name. It's bank holiday weekend. You wouldn't believe how tough it's been getting all this put together with kiddies and days out and other things. So forgive me, it isn't a full-time job. My apologies, I must do better. Anyway, Joel, what's your making of the team of the week? Would you change any of them?
No. I just found it funny because I thought, man, it shows you need experience because there's some lot of old boys in that team. Well, I think Cam Smith, he's been absolutely incredible, and he's been a class player. He doesn't seem to be letting up anytime soon. It was nice. Paul, is it Seguay?
Yeah, Paul Seguay. Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice to get some plaudits because he's not been getting a big mention.
No, well, as like I say about Williams not getting any man of steel points, we call it straight. We know that you mentioned it, everybody knows I'm a Warrington fan, but I like to think I'm very impartial. I don't, and I am impartial when it comes to things like this. And the thing about our team of the week, we call it as it is. Even if they're in the losing team, if they're the best in that position that week, then they're the best. Simple as that. Don't get me wrong. We try and take a judgment. But, like, for example, in Segui's, it was a tight game against Warrington and he played superbly well. We've had prop forwards this year that have been on the losing side, but they've done 200 yards. They've carried the ball for 25 times. They've done 30 tackles in defence. What more do you want from a prop forward? So, for me, they're in the team of the week. That's where they are. Doesn't matter that they're on the losing side. So, we try and keep it fair. You saw last year, because you've watched us for many years since we started, very few Warrington players got in team of the week last year. And this year, it could be argued that maybe more should have been in it. But, again, we will call it or try to call it as straight as we possibly can. But, yeah, I think that's probably about a fair reflection on the week that was very deserving. Mikey Lewis, I love him. Just love him. I don't know, something about Mikey Lewis. He's like a kid on a park, innit? He is, though, innit? He just loves it. It's infectious to watch Mikey Lewis play rugby league.
You can't not like him. He always plays champagne. He knows it's brilliant.
And he's got a bit of niggle as well. He loves winding up the opposition, but in the right way. I think he's a cracking guy. Really, really impressed. Right, let's get into where we're at in terms of the prediction league. Here it comes, a bit of mood music. Here it is, the Prediction League 2023. And as you can see, you wonderful people in the fans forum, well, you continue to excel. 16 points last week now takes you out by 3 points over Gary Schofield. I then on 86. And Greg had a decent week as well. He's on 79. But no, the fans forum, you guys continue to call it right. You continue to get these scores right. So congratulations to you all. That's how it currently stands as we now go into the week that is ahead. Round number 9, and it all kicks off this Thursday night as the Salford Red Devils welcome Andy and Sue's Castleford Tigers. Big game, this one, in terms of where we are with it. We know that Joe Westerman has got a ban. There's doubts over Liam Watts and Alex Sutcliffe. Ruled out for Salford, Gerard, Partington, Lafay won't make it, Danny Addy and Burrett are definitely going to be out as well. Salford off the back of a win, Castleford off the back of the win. Gary Schofield, he has gone Salford 9-17. Joe, what's your assessment?
I know Cass won, but they beat Wakey. So I think Salford are going to have just a bit too much for Cass, especially with the players that are out. Salford have been a bit hit and miss. They're not doing as well as what we thought they might have done so far. But hey, who am I to talk? We're not either. So, but yeah, I think Salford are going to have a bit too much to say about this game. I'm going to go by 6. It's not going to be massive. I think it's
You're
going
going by 6. Right, okay, right. So if you're going by 6, let me just tell you where we're currently at. We always call it live on the show. So I'm just looking now at where they are. The fans form are going Salford. You're going by 6.
Yeah.
That would mean it's a dead heat. So you will get, so 2 have gone 18 plus, 2 have gone 9 to 17, and 2 have gone 1 to 8. But for your time this week, your prediction will do. So we're going to go Salford 1 to 8. Is that all right, Joe?
Yes. No
That's
one
where you're going.
No
You're
one
going
shoot.
Salford 1 to 8. So that's where we're gonna. That's where we're gonna go. Right. Let's find out from Greg. He's not here. Let's find out from Greg what his thoughts are on this one. Here he comes.
Here I am by the magic of virtuality. I'd like to thank Joel for stepping in last minute this week to give his words of wisdom on the World of Rugby League this week and Super League. My prediction for Salford versus Cass. These games are getting hard and hard to predict. You don't know what's going to back up from the Easter weekend, although, we've only had 1 game each rather than 2. I think Cass, they'll be buoyed by the win against Wakefield, as will Salford. I just think Salford will have enough, and I think it'll be probably 9 to 17 Salford.
So Greg is going 9 to 17 Salford. Is where Greg's going. So that pretty much puts that. So it's me, Greg, and Gary Schofield going 9 to 17 Salford, with the fans form going 1 to 8 Salford, all for Salford. So we know that Castleford will win. Right, okay. We now move on to one that will have Joel's attention, I'm sure. We now move on to Friday and to the big game at the John Smith Stadium. Huddersfield Giants taking on the Catalan Dragons. Big game, this one. In terms of where we're currently sat, well, Gary Schofield has gone Huddersfield 1 to 8. I think I know where you're going to go, Joel, but I'll ask you anyway. What's your thoughts on this one?
Everyone knows I'm a Giants fan, and I'd like to say I'm not the most biased person in the world. If I have not seen some of the good stuff that I saw in the Leeds game, I was going to say Catalan by 9 to 17. But I'm not. I'm going to go by us, and I'm going to do a Uncle Freddie special. I'm going to say by a drop goal.
You're going 1 to 8, yeah?
Yeah, for the Giants.
So you're going, which is where the fans form are going. So yeah. Huddersfield 1 to 8, Schofield 1 to 8. Let's welcome him back. Here he comes. Here's our Greg. What's he think?
Catalan put up a really good performance against Warrington on Saturday. We're unlucky in many ways. A game that could have gone either way. Same for Huddersfield as well. Again, key decisions in both games. I think Catalan might just edge this one. I'm going Catalan. Oh, Catalan 1 to 8. I think they'll just edge out Huddersfield, who I don't think they can kind of buy a win at this moment in time, especially at home.
Scathing, Joel, scathing. I'm actually going against everybody. I actually think this is a game that Huddersfield must win. They must win. They have to win this game. I think if they don't, big questions have got to be asked. I think they'll do a lot of soul searching this week. They're at home. I'm going to go 9 to 17 Huddersfield. I'm going to show you a bit of love and faith here, Joel. I'm going to go 9. I'm going Huddersfield 9 to 17. Don't know why. Blind faith, maybe. But yeah, that's where I'm going, mate. I'm gonna go with your team.
That's why Greg's not here, because he didn't want to say that to me.
He didn't certainly want to say it to your face, mate. He certainly didn't. Graham's gone in. He's saying Catalan by 6. Kobe McGilvery, no surprises. Giants by 18. Freddie saying 1 to 8 to Huddersfield. Alex Sharp saying Catalan by 10. So a couple of differences of opinion on that one, and that's what we like, a bit of difference of opinion.
Catalan.
Greg. Let's move on. Leeds Rhinos taking on Hull FC. Oh, dearie me. No surprises here. Gary Schofield is going Leeds by 9 to 17. Where do you see this one, Joe?
Oh, Leeds 18 plus.
Yeah.
By a margin.
18 plus for Leeds. Okay. Okie dokie. Well, I'm also going Leeds 18 plus. No real surprises there. I just can't see. They've got no strike power at the moment. Hull very, very low on confidence. Leeds came through a stern test, I think, against your boys. We know that they've had good games against Saints. They've had good games against Catalan. They're at home. It's looking grim. It's looking grim. That said, what's our Greg say? Here he is.
Say about Hull FC. Sorry, we know we've got a lot of Hull fans, but you must be I can't even begin to wonder what you guys are thinking about your team, especially that performance at the weekend. Not performing the way they should or they could, I don't think. And fortunately, I think it's going to be the same again. I don't think they can be as bad. I don't think Hull can be as bad this week as they were at the weekend, albeit it was a very, very good performance by Hull KR. But I still think Leeds, and I think Leeds 18 plus on this one. Had a tough game against Huddersfield. Maybe not as much turnaround, but I still think Leeds by 18 plus this weekend. Sorry, Hull fans.
So there you go. All of us going Leeds by various margins. Pretty much it's going to be a minimum of a 2-score win for the Leeds Rhinos.
They've got too much strike. Far too much strike.
Hull are not in a good place, mate.
No.
They're not in a good place. It has to be said.
Say about Hull FC.
We've said it. Right, okay. Here we go. Hull KR taking on Saints. This is a good game. This is a good game. Very nearly our game of the week. It could have been game of the week. I think it's going to be a really good tussle at the Seal Group Craven Park, I have to say. Yeah, interesting. No Batchelor, sorry, for Hull KR. No Jesse Sue, he's been banned. Of course, no Morgan Knowles, no Joe Batchelor. It's a shame that this could have been really played on the family one if they were both available. A bit of a shame. We'll get that later in the season, hopefully. Sione Matautia. Oh, rugby hurts, doesn't it? I mean, I think we all felt. I actually feared the worst because he didn't move, did he? He was just out. I'd hope that will mean it's more than a game. Saints have got to give him, because if you remember, he's only just come back from HIA. So I just hope for his safety and his well-being, he's got to have a few weeks on the sideline. Of course, no Wormsley as well. Right. Gary Schofield is going Hull KR 1-8. Where are you going, Joe?
Well, we may not have heard the end of injuries for Saints just yet, based on what we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Hull KR. If Saints put out the squad they put out last week, I'm going to go for Hull KR. Saints are looking very, very tired.
What score?
Yeah, that's why I'm delaying that one. I'm going to go 1-8 because it's Saints. They're an incredible side, no matter who they put out. But yeah, I'm going to go 1-8. But I think Hull have just, if our friend Michael Lewis has got out to say about anything, he's going to put in a good performance again.
Yeah. I'm actually going 9-17 KR. With you, I think that I keep going back to start the season when Welland said that he was going to give him a rest. The intention was that he was going to rest players, I think, for the Wakefield game. He was going to give them a week off. Never happened. They've not recuperated for whatever reason. As you said, they do look a little bit tired. And they're coming up against a white-hot Hull KR at the moment. Yeah. So I'm going to go 9-17 KR. Let's see where Greg is. Here he is. Here's the lad.
Hull KR Saints. Hull KR again, as I've already said. A great performance against Hull over the Easter weekend. Saints suffered against Wigan. That was a great performance by Wigan as well. Saints, few injuries, suspensions. Knowles looks like he's going to get banned for a hip drop. Whatever, they seem to have they seem to be all in fashion this season. So it's a tough one to call, but I just see Saints edging this 1-8. But I think it will be a close one thing, and I think Saints, probably just the last 10-15 minutes, will just edge it. Sorry, KR fans.
So sorry, KR fans. Apologies from Greg. If people are wondering why he's not here in person, shockingly, he's at a wedding this evening. on a Tuesday after bank holiday. So he dropped it on us lastminute.com. So we rushed around to just get his predictions just so you could see him, because we know you like him, he says, with a wry smile on his face. But yeah, there you go. So that's our Greg. So I'm going KR 9-17. Greg, Saints 1-8. The Fans Forum KR 1-8. And Gary Schofield KR 1-8. We now come to the game of the week. Here it is. First against second. It's the Locker Cup. It's Warrington against Wigan. It's huge. George Williams against his former team. Toby King against his former team. No Philbin for Warrington. Ban. No Dudson for Warrington. Ban. James Harrison not expected to be there. Joe Bullock not expected to be there. Darryl Clark not expected to be there. And Matty Russell not expected to be there. Plus a other yet to be confirmed. Looks like it's either Stefan Ratchford or Peter Matautia may also be missing for Warrington. As for Wigan, no Morgan Smithies. Ban. No Jay Field. Hamstring. No Cade Cust. Neck. And Mike Cooper, as we've already said tonight, out for the rest of the season. So neither side come into this fully fit, with a full complement on the field of play. But that said, form goes out the window. This is going to be a biggie. Yes. Gary Schofield going the wire 1-8. Where are you going, Joel?
This screams grand final to me.
Oof, that's a big prediction.
It really does, honestly, yeah. So Paul Vaughan's playing, Cassiano's playing, isn't he?
Cassiano will play, Vaughan will play.
So that means that they'll interchange with each other, I presume.
If it was a betting man, I think he's going to put Josh Maguire as a prop.
Right.
I think that'll happen. We've also got the young lad, Luke Thomas, who's been getting a couple of games. I think he'll feature for Warrington in this one. If the rumours aren't true and there isn't going to be somebody missing from the centres, I'd expect Matautia potentially to go up to loose forward with Minikin at centre, which I think will be a target point in terms of Warrington's right edge of defence where Wigan were concerned. A lot's going to depend on what's announced. Warrington keeping the cards very close to the chest. Somebody took a knock that wasn't obvious on Saturday. Yeah. How bad that is, we don't know, but we're expecting it's either going to be Ratchford or Matautia as a doubt, I think.
Right. That's why I was asking, because with who was out, if you'd have had a fully fit squad, and I said wire by probably 9-17. Yeah. Oh man, I've not yet bet against Warrington, and I don't think I'm not gonna do it yet. I'm gonna go wire 1-8.
You're going tight. You're going Warrington 1-8. You're going with with me, and you're going with Schofield on that. I can't bet against them. I refuse to bet against them. They're 8 from 8, and even though I do think this for me is the sternest test yet. We've seen Warrington win in a lot of different ways this year, and we have. This is just going to be another one. If Warrington were to produce a win in this, that's impressive because there's a lot missing. We've seen a lot of different things. Let's see what Greg had to say on this one. Here it comes.
Right, the big one. The big game of the weekend. Wire versus Wigan. Again, this is the one of these 3 games, Catalan, Wigan, Saints, this was the one I was more worried about before the Easter weekend. Again, Philbin for a hip drop has been banned. Your guess is as good as mine. Dudson, less said about him, the better. I think this is the week when Warrington's winning run comes to an end. I think Wigan are going. I think it's going to be close for the first 60, but I think Warrington's depleted pack, and there's rumours of one or two other injuries. I think Wigan, despite their missing players, will probably just win it from the bench. I think Wigan probably 1-8 will win it in the last 20 minutes of the game. I think this is the week the run comes to an end.
So that was Greg's prediction. He's gone against the wire for this one based on the injuries. So, but all of us are in agreement that it should be tight. It should be tight. It could go either way.
I don't know, Dave. The thing is, Wigan do not have the forward pack that you guys have.
If fully fit, I'd agree. But I think that Vaughan's going to have to have another huge game.
But he can, though.
But he can, yeah.
The thing is, but if Vaughan really had to, he could probably play 60 minutes.
Easily.
And Cassiano, being as big as he is, I think he's 18, 19 stone. He could probably do a full 25, 30 minutes if he had to.
Well, he's done over that when he's been playing loose forward. He has put in some big minutes this year.
There you go then. So
yeah.
if he's whether he's at prop or loose forward, don't really make a difference. The fact is, he's absolutely massive. He's like a barn door. So if you do, and this is why I asked if they're going to be interchanging. When you came to us and played us in the first game, whenever Paul Vaughan wasn't on the field, Cassiano was. Whenever Cassiano wasn't, Vaughan was. So either way, you had somebody terrifying.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Greg's always worried because I think he's thinking too much about last year.
He's very pessimistic at times. Is our Greg?
Yeah, I just don't see why I'm losing this.
It's going to be huge, mate. It's going to be they're going for a sellout as well. So I don't know how many Wigan are bringing, but Warrington have only got 1,000 tickets as of this morning in Warrington areas. They expect the Warrington will be a sellout. Then it comes down to how many Wigan supporters make the trip across on a Friday night. But it could be let's hope so. And that's been a real positive this year. The attendance is 83,000+ this weekend. Great to see. Yeah. We're seeing some really, really good attendances. Hopefully it's going to be another belter at the Halliwell Jones.
Don't forget, Wigan have been relying quite heavily on the Bevan French and Jyfield duo. Yeah. That's not there now.
It's not. It's going to be tight. I think it'll be interesting. And the fact that there's no Cuss, there's no Field. They put Shorrocks in against Saints. He might go again. Can he back up in that role second game? Don't know. It's a mouthwater. It should be a great game. And like I say, Warrington, 4 points clear going into it. One thing we do know, no matter what happens at the weekend, Warrington will remain top for at least another week. Right. Okay. We then finish off with this little cheeky one. A must win. If Wakey lose this, I will be declaring on In the Sheds this week that Wakefield are going to be relegated. That's the way I see it. If they have any chance of staying in Super League, they have to win this game at home. They cannot not win this game at home. That's how I see it. Gary Schofield sees it, Leigh 9-17. Where do you see it?
I feel really horrible now, but Wakefield aren't going to score a point.
Ooh.
No, they're not. Leigh are just far too good. Even if you had just the beautiful thing about Leigh this year is they've got a great mix of young and old, and the older players are far too experienced than Wakey's older players, and I think the younger players are faster, fitter, and more hungry. Wakefield are a beaten side there. Yeah. You can't put into words just how difficult this is for Wakefield. Whether they're at home or away, it doesn't make a difference. Leigh are going to absolutely annihilate them. Because the thing is, Leigh are going to want to... Because don't forget, Leigh are going to make sure that they know they have to win this. Because no one in this league right now is thinking that Leigh's going down.
Yeah.
But Leigh have to back these games up as well. It's all right winning the big ones. They've got to win the ones below them. And they're going to do it. This is going to be 18 plus.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof. Right. I thought that's where you were going. I wasn't sure. But
Sorry,
we're
very straight through.
Yeah. Do you know what, mate? I'm with you. I'm going 18 plus, Leigh. Schofield's gone 90-17. The fans forum, I've gone 90-17. In the chat here, Graham Parrish saying Leigh by 8. Kobe McGilvey, Leigh by 30. Charlie hat-trick, Alex Sharp is predicting. Freddie McGilvey 90-17 to Leigh. No love at all for Wakefield. As for Warrington going back again, Kobe McGilvey, Warrington by 17. Graham Parrish, Warrington by 4. Freddie McGilvey seeing it 1-8, Wigan's way. Alex Sharp seeing it 1-8, Warrington's way. A lot of toing and throwing on that one. For the last time this evening, let's hear from Greg. Here he comes.
Wakefield, Leigh, both hurting after the weekend. I would have thought Wakefield, they've got to start winning. They have got to start winning if they've got any chance of staying in Super League this season. Leigh have been a surprise package, although, as we've said quite a few times now, a couple of seasons ago, they did run the big boys very close and were lucky in some of those games. Having said that, I think Leigh are the better team and know how to win games more than Wake can do this season, even though we're still at early doors. And again, I'm going for a narrow win. I'm going for 1-8, a Leigh win. And that will set the panic buttons going at Wakefield, I think.
Panic buttons, indeed. So there you go. There's the predictions in the bag for another week. We'll see how we do next week. Get your feast of rugby league action in this week, ladies and gentlemen. Here it is. Thursday night, Salford taking on Castleford Tigers live on Sky. Wonderful stuff. Then it's off to Manly as they take on the Melbourne Storm. Huge game on Friday night. Absolute monster. Warrington taking on Wigan. Saturday's a doubleheader coming from the NRL as Newcastle take on Penrith. And the Gold Coast Titans with perhaps Thomas McKaylee making his debut. And of course, Leigh made his last week in a win. He will certainly be there as well as they take on Brisbane, who of course lost last week. Brisbane have been playing some really good rugby league down under. That'll be an interesting game indeed. Joel, what can I say? Other than it's, as always, an absolute privilege to have you on the show on behalf of all the fans forum and Greg especially. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for having me. No, I really enjoy it. Thank you.
Good man, and we will, of course, be having you back in a few weeks' time. We'll keep inviting you to get the inside track on all things Huddersfield Giants. If anybody would like to be Joel for the day, there's an interesting concept. If anybody would like to be Joel for the day, then get in touch. Any fan at all. If you want to get in touch, we had Ian, of course, from Hull. We had Joel, of course, a favourite from Huddersfield. Any fan out there, any fan at all who fancies coming on and giving us their views, as long as you keep it clean, we're happy, more than happy to have you. Both Greg and I will certainly be back this time next week to look at things, all things round 9. But on behalf of Joel, on behalf of Greg, on behalf of me, get to the grounds, enjoy your rugby league, and we're going to, as always, go out with the top performers, the 8 rounds of Super League. We'll see you next week. Thank you very much indeed.
Take care, guys. Thank you. Bye.